What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your man, Coach Block. And I'm here again with a special pair. I ain't even gonna say special no more. We're gonna stop saying special because this is actually planned. So this is an exclusive parent panel that we created to be able to have conversations about what's going on and what we see and how things are transpiring out here inside of this crazy athletic world. Not just football, but just all over. For those who hold on, my Instagram is not live. There was a lot of people watching Instagram. Okay, now Instagram is live. For those who were saying, like, Coach, you said you were having a camp. What happened? Okay, let me jump into that. One of the things that we're going to talk about today is this culture that we have of coaches versus trainers, people taking sides. I don't want to send my kids here because this coach is here or that coach is here, and it's a mess. And I think I'm not going to do it today, but I am going to do it tomorrow. The way I'm going to do it is it's going to be called I Choose War. And I want everybody to be very uncomfortable with everything that I'm saying because somebody has to say it. When we talk about, trainers, when we talk about opportunities, when we talk about coaches, when we talk about people who are and who aren't doing certain things, all that plays a significant part in exposure for these students, and it strips them from opportunities because we as adults cannot figure out how to play together inside of the sandbox, and it's pretty damn sad. So I revamped and came up with another idea on how we're going to do this, and also forcing some people to work together because I'm really, really tired of people not working together. So that's my monologue. And like I said, I don't want to choose war right now. For the parent panel, I get to be the nice guy and every now and again play devil's advocate. So let's talk about what we're doing tonight. Tonight, we're going to have our 4 downs. We're going to talk about a few different topics such as NIL. We're going to educate more so than talk about specifics. So I personally never like to talk inside of people's pockets because I don't like anybody to talk inside of my pockets. So we're going to give you general information and probably some things that you did not know about NIL. And if you do know some things about NIL, please join the conversation. We're also going to tap into the 5v5. We have a special guest that will be with us in a moment who's going to talk about this new culture, man. And I love it. I'm not going to even hold back. I love it because I'm so tired of 7-on-7 getting all the attention that now we have something for the big guys that they can be seen. Then we're going to talk about a little bit this trainer versus coaches mentality and how that is hurting, how that hurts us in general. We'll just leave that there and we'll let the conversation and spread out. And then the biggest one that we want to talk about that we're finding out more and more, even as the panel that we have, we start to reach out to coaches. And then even myself, as I'm reaching out to coaches and players, is how do we get exposure to smaller markets for the players who cannot transfer? So we're not going to talk about the transfer culture. I think we're going to beat a dead horse. You got people who are on the left, people on the right, and then people who are in the middle like me who understand both sides of it. But for those who cannot leave, what do we need to do as a collective, as a community, to assure that even if somebody can't get to another school that has the light shine on them, that we still make sure those student athletes who aspire to have the dream of playing on the next level can do so. So those are our 4 areas that we are going to hit. And if you've seen the graphic and you got an opportunity to see the graphic, you probably seen these 3 men with me. First up, I have Coach Zig. Hold on, let's add him to the stage. Then I have Coach Bryant, and then I have Coach Deloach. Coach Deloach, he cannot have his camera on at this current time, so please don't be like, cut your camera on, his camera's off. Don't do that. I'm telling you now, he cannot have his camera on at this current time. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for doing it again. I think we had some success, and if we want to continue to do this, I think the biggest thing is consistency, so we decided to do it again. For those who have not seen the previous episode, you can go to First and Goal 365 on YouTube or Coach Block on YouTube and check out the conversation from last week. We had over 1,000 views on last week's conversation because transferring is hot. So this week, gentlemen, I want to welcome everybody. Say hello. How you feeling? How you doing? What's going on? Anything new for you guys before we jump into the conversations? Zig, we'll start with you.
Oh man, this week was pretty eventful. Got a chance to go down to the Dexter Lawrence Big Man Challenge, which was really fun. Had a chance to talk with some of the young players, up and coming players, which was always very interesting, just to see what they're going through and how their whole process is panning out for them. Had a chance to reconnect with some coaches in the area, which is always really good. The dialogue that we started last week has spilled over throughout the week, and it was interesting to hear different viewpoints. So it's been a very eventful weekend. Eventful week, excuse me.
Agreed. Coach Brian, what you got going on, man? Tell me some news, some information. What's going on since the last time we talked?
Yeah, same thing. Piggybacking on what Coach Zig said, that we had a lot of people contacting me saying that it was good information that they got in reference to the transfer portal for high school, if that's what we want to call it. And then the second thing is looking at some of these kids that's picking up traction, the kids from Wake Forest, the DN kid, the running back kid. Like, these kids are picking up big traction with these Power 4 schools, which is great. And if anybody knows me, I'm an advocate for all the kids, the way I want to see all these kids win, no matter what program that they're in. So I love that those guys over there are picking up traction with their recruitment.
Great. Mr. Deloach, what you got going on, man? Tell me what's the haps on the crap since the last time we talked, man? How you feeling?
Well, to piggyback after these two young football scholars ahead of me both said, that everyone was just calling me and inboxing me, talking like, wow, we really appreciate it because I didn't know this and I didn't know that. So for me, I try to be as transparent and as open of a book as I can with my experiences, just to let you know that there is no one way. And I think that's what one of the parents told me, said, I was thinking all those things. And I was like, yeah, we all were kind of right. We just gave you a different viewpoint. So to have someone that has been through it and still going through it, to reach back and give and educate these parents and other families or whomever, coaches, on what's going on, because it's moving rapidly. And just like you said earlier, the NCAA is instituting new rules and bylaws as we speak. So I'm just looking forward to helping as many people as I can.
Great. So look, we're going to jump into a couple things. First things first is going to be our guest today that we have when we're talking about the 5v5. So if you see the 5v5, we got somebody that I love that's just leading the charge on this, man. And he got great energy. The kids are working. He's taken it from a pebble and now he's turned it into a rock, where this is a consistent staple. Before we jump into him, here's something that I would love for you all to do. If I could take a picture of my desk right here, you're going to see there's mixers, there's cameras, there's microphones to make sure the sound sounds good. I'm about to put this ticker up so that you can call in and make sure that, if you want to be a part, you can call in. Just call that number right there and we can get you in so that people can hear you. All this stuff here costs money. And I ain't asking nobody for no bread. Here's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for a like, a share, a follow, any of that stuff, and a comment. The one thing that I think we have to get out of is commenting in secrecy. So many people have come to me and talked to me about what we're doing, and it's great, and I like it, and I want to say something, and then you're scared to say it, or you choose to say it because there's some political line, which is the bullshit that I'm talking about. There's some political line you don't want to cross, but I'm telling you, if you have that question, I can guarantee there's another parent that has that question, or if you have that answer, there's a parent waiting to hear you say exactly that point, whether you're on the left, whether you're right, whether you're in the middle. Over 1,000 people watched this podcast last week. So you can't tell me that there aren't people who have questions. Stop being afraid and stop trying to, don't do that. The biggest issue that we have when it comes down to exposure on this side is we allow the politics to control the narratives for our children. If you want to change transfer culture, start opening your mouth and expose these things for these kids so that kids that are in other places with parents who have questions can get them answered so that they can do the things that they want to do. Transfer culture exists because people keep their mouth shut. So now let's go to the next segment. The segment that I want to go to now is the 5v5, and we have two great coaches who are like I said, leading the charge on this. You got Coach Keys, Coach Adrian. I'm gonna bring those gentlemen in right now. 1 second. I got Coach Keys in, and then Coach Adrian. How you doing, man?
How you doing? I'm good. I'm good. How you doing there?
I'm doing great. So I'm just going to jump right in, and I'm going to give you the main screen, the big screen, because this is your moment. You're that guy. The first thing I want you to do for parents who are not privy, maybe they're hiding behind a rock, or let's say there's a mom that might be sending her son to the 5v5 and has absolutely no idea what he's doing. Tell us a little bit about what 5v5 is. Tell us about Trenches Elite and how you're helping these big men get on the map. Uh-oh. Mute monster. Can't hear you.
There you go.
Wait, can you hear him now? Ain't got no sound, Keys. Hold on 1 second. Keys, I ain't got no sound for you. Let me make sure Adrian's good. Let me see. Adrian, you good? You got sound?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear Adrian. I can't hear Keys.
Can you hear?
So Keys, that's you. Go ahead, say something now. Oh, he froze up. Let me slide Adrian in for him then. Hold on. You good? Keys, say something to me. No, he's not good. So we'll switch. Adrian, you good? I think I can hear you,
I'm
Adrian.
good.
Okay, I can hear Adrian. Yes. Keys, work on it a little bit for me, and then we'll switch you back in. Go ahead, Adrian. Tell us a little bit about it. Tell us about the culture, because y'all two working hand in hand, man. So tell us a little bit about the culture and how this works.
Well, I'm really behind scenes, man. This is a vision that Coach Keys has. He's been talking about it for years. To see what it's turning into is something special. Coach Keys, we all know the 7-on-7 world, but the big men never had the opportunity to show their skills. So Keys kind of stepped in and filled that void. Like I said, this is his vision. There you go.
There you go, because I heard a baby.
Yeah, I heard the baby. But yeah, like I was saying, Keys stepped in and he's just trying to put as much exposure there is on the bigger guys. You know, I hate to say it, me being I love the DBs and the receiver, but we know when it comes down to football, the big guys kind of do run the world.
Yeah. They're the first ones off the board. I tell people all the time in recruiting, they are the first off the board. They're the most valuable piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing with them. You can't do nothing without them.
Yeah. So like I said, I really just help Keys with everything. We get out, we try to find as many kids that we can get exposure on. But Keys is really the brains to everything. I'm behind scenes helping push it.
Right. So tell us right now, because Keys have probably got to go out and come back in. Tell us what the big men need to have their mind wrapped around coming into like a competition. Like, so even before we talk about Trenches Elite and specifically what like Keys does as far as installing the fundamental pieces, talk to us about just the mindset of the 5v5 versus, you know, just like one-on-ones or just going to a camp and doing one-on-ones. What's the difference between the two as far as just the vibe?
First and foremost, you got to come in with some type of attitude. It's not for the soft, it's not for the weak. Technique is a must. You got to understand what you're doing, what you're here for. Everybody, we can all go do drills all day and, you know, look good in our own special way. But when it's heads up, you versus me, we're on a clock and we got to get it done. That's really what it is. It's bringing a lot of fire. Like the exposure that's coming with the air, with everything is great, but it's bringing so much discipline, technique. Like it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain the 5v5. You got to just show up. I was one of those ones who didn't get it at first until we showed up.
Okay,
Coach Adrian, let me piggyback. Let me interject here because I didn't know anything about 5v5. I went down and watched Keys train a couple of times, and it's like, okay, we just pushing each other. The more I got into it,
Yeah.
I'm learning the subtle techniques, the adjustments that these kids are having to make. But more importantly, when they're going up against each other, Coach Block is literally, they just don't have gloves on because they are literally fighting.
Yeah.
And while it appears to be very violent, it's also very controlled. When you're in a 5v5
Yeah.
competition, after these kids have fought for 3 seconds, they are like, it is nothing lingering, no bad ill feelings. They're rushing back to the line so they can get ready for the next rep. Coach Keys made a statement, make every rep a work of art. I've seen young men whose eyes were like deers in a headlight, but then when that light turns on and they are starting to enjoy the work they're putting in, man, it is a work of art. You are watching the kids actually grow up, mature, and accept accountability.
And I think to the everybody on the panel, and me just being the hostess to ask the questions and put the questions together. Why did we feel like there was a need for a 5v5? Let me get Keys in there. Here you go. Here, Keys, you there?
Yeah. Now.
There we go. Got you.
Okay, good. I love it. Good. Adrian, I love the way you warmed the crowd up. Like,
I got you, my boy.
So Keys, tell us first. Tell us a little bit. The question that I had was, tell us the importance of 5v5. Like, why was there a need for this in your eyesight? The 7-on-7 is the flashy thing, but right now I feel like the 5v5, it hasn't specifically taken over, but it damn sure is neck and neck. So what is the allure to it? Who said we needed this?
I did.
You breaking up. Oh, Keys, you breaking up on us.
How about now? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
Got you.
All right. At California, guys from Hawaii, guys from Texas, guys from Florida, that just always told me that was how they came up. That was how they started to learn the trenches. That was something they was doing in the off season of religion. I understand that Trench Lee is training first, development first. Big Rich has seen me. He's seen me develop from the beginning. Where I just grab a guy, we might make art for an hour and a half, just straight crafting. But at the same time, I want to see that guy against something live. I want to see my technique that we work. I want to see against a live bullet, a live guy. So it was something that we had to do. The first team that we had was gritty. You had guys like Gavin Marks, you had guys like Logan Pooley, Asa Maggette, a young Jaden Brody, guys like Kenny Figueroa, some guys from out of state. It was something that was needed, man. I think we knew Trench Elite, the brand, was a great product that can help develop offensive line, defensive linemen. I had to push the bar, and how we pushed the bar was just showing our guys that we can compete on the national stage. Fast forward, it's iron sharpening iron. It's controlled chaos. You hear some people say they're against 5-on-5, but like I asked every individual, what do you in your camps on every day at these prospect camps? We see one-on-ones. That's what they ended on. Someone mentioned, Wake Forest edge rusher is catching a buzz. Yeah, he's catching a buzz. That same kid was giving it to guys from January all the way on, from Pittsburgh to Miami, came to North Carolina to do it, Georgia. That guy's been competing. So, yeah, when he's in his offseason now with the Under Armours, he's going to prospect camps. It's easy now. He was playing the cream of the crop. It was something that had to be started here. Shout out to Dexter Lawrence that wanted me to bring my vision, to be a part of his platform, his brand. Like I said, I love 7-on-7. Don't get it twisted. I think that's a great development tool for the skill guys. This is going to develop the grittiness, and we don't have to worry. Let's just change the narrative. We know guys know how to train and develop. Let's see can those kids actually work that technique against a live guy in front of them. So that's why we created 5-on-5. So we brought it here.
So I'm glad you said that, because my next question literally takes me there, and then dads as well. You guys jump in when you feel. Like 7-on-7, you have coaches who say I can't stand it because it teaches improper technique. Talk about how you, as Trenches Elite, first, because there may be improper technique with others, but talk about how Trenches Elite prepares your guys to assure that technique is not compromised.
Well, you got to understand, we're trainers first, man. We're trainers, and some of these guys that's on this podcast now have seen me work and seen me develop guys, to get them to the next level and help develop their game. So the first thing is first building your game up. We
Mhm.
got to crawl before we can walk. A lot of guys seeing the social media, they're seeing
Yeah.
guys, they're seeing guys get yoked up. They're not understanding the process. They're not understanding what we was doing behind the scenes.
Hmm.
Again, we're development first. You guys have seen me train these guys in 95-degree heat, 97-degree heat, really get
Hmm.
into it. My version
Hmm.
now is just showing these guys, okay, look, let me show you the finishing touches. The finishing touches is guy going against anybody in your area, and he's showing he can compete, and he deserves the opportunity to play at the next level. So, I mean, the
Hmm.
first thing I always tell them, we put the surgery on first. The surgery is develop. We
Right.
make sure these guys are prepared, ready to go. Once I feel like, man, that kid's ready to go, let's throw him in the fire. This is my way of throwing you in that fire. This is my
Hmm.
way of getting you prepared.
Hmm.
Again, if you look at just the name of the kids that we've had come through this program, they'll tell you we had to go through this. We had to go through
Yeah.
this, get where we had to go, because this was our only way of finding out could we really play in the battlegrounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Oh no,
What
you
I was
good.
going to say, um, you on any given Friday when we go to what we call the pit, you'll see a host of Millbrook kids and you will see Roseville kids. You'll see any of the school kids. I think that Coach Keys has also developed a good relationship with the area coaches and understands what they are looking for. And that is, I guess, incorporated into the development so that, hey, what I'm training will also fit with the program that they're playing at. Again, we had the pit finale is this Friday, and it's going to be bananas because you're also going to have high quality kids and kids at every level who are learning that are really getting ready to sharpen each other. It's an amazing energy. It's a fun atmosphere. And again, this is just something to see.
Yeah,
And
the
I want
pit.
to add to it real quick because one thing that is I'm noticing, especially coming from Pittsburgh, and I seen you traveling, and Aaron Donald was having his his session, and then now you have Dexter Lawrence having his session. What does it mean to see the NFL guys gravitating to this and creating this exposure? What does it mean to you when you know, like I said, you picked this up as a pebble before we seen the big names in it? So what does that now mean to you to see it go to this level?
It makes me smile because, like I told Dex, I said, Dex, I love the 7-on-7 part of your event, but this is you. This is
Mm-hmm.
what made you. And same thing with Aaron Donald. They invited us to come out to Pittsburgh, compete in their tournament, and we made a big splash. It lets guys know your Hall of Famers, your future Hall of Famers are touching this platform. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they understand that this is the way of getting guys prepared in the off season. They understand this is controlled chaos. We're not just running through guys to get to the bag. It's a
Mm-hmm.
technique. It's a certain type of craft you got to work.
Mm-hmm.
So all you're gonna see a lot of NFL linemen that gravitate to this platform. Why? Because they understand. I wish I number one, you might hear an NFL guy say, "I wish I had this when I was a kid." That's the
Yes.
first thing you always hear. They'll say, "Man, I wish we had something like this growing up. I wish we had something like that when I was growing up in North Carolina." But that's the beauty of it. So you don't be surprised, in the next few years you start seeing more and more and more. I know we got some NFL guys, I won't say their names now behind the scenes, that are gonna put their touches on Trenches Elite because they believe in it and they wish they
Mm-hmm.
was a part of something like this when they was in high school. So it's just don't be this is just the beginning. It was dope to see Aaron Donald really bless it. I tell people that he
Mm-hmm.
blessed it because you can't say that it's a wasted platform now. You're one of the
Right.
greatest D linemen of all time just stamped it. And not only did he stamp it, he has his own team as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's that's the beauty of it. This is just the beginning. I'm proud and I'm just honored to represent the progress.
So as an organization, just tell me when you're looking at a kid, because all linemen aren't built the same. All linemen have different techniques when they come to you. Tell us, building an alignment, or tell a parent or even a coach out there, you're building a lineman, he comes to you, I want to get better. Where do you start, and then how do you finish? Like, so where do you start with a guy, or where does a guy need to start working when he's at home by himself to get better so that he can perform at these events and potentially get put on the map?
Well, I mean, if I first meet a kid, meet a parent, I won't throw the 5-on-5 on them right away. Let's get developed in it. The first thing I look for is, how much do you care about this position? It's not a pretty position. It's a gritty position. Offensive line, defensive line, it's not fancy. You know, defensive line, yeah, it's becoming more of a highlight position, but is it, how much do you love this game? From there, a lot of people might say, well, the next thing is size. I can't say size, because I had guys like Drew James that I met that was 5'6", 5'7", and became 190 pounds. That became 5'8", 5'9", 5'9 and a half, 250. That became some of the best players in the city. So I look for your grittiness. Yeah, I look at the weight, the size, but it's hard to judge that. You just look at the potential of that, because kids are only going to grow, right? So it's all about just how much did he love the position? How much does he care? From there, that's when it makes my job easy. This individual cares about playing offensive line, defensive line. This kid wants to live in the trenches. So it's only right for me to give him the proper touches and the proper tools to be able to be victorious at it. How that works, that might be that might be months, could be a year or two, could be 3. So and then we talk about the 5-on-5. Is he gritty enough? Is he ready for that? Now, and there's 2 versions of that. There's playing on my travel team, that's pretty well, and then there's part of Dexter Lawrence, there's being a part of the pit, all those good things. Now the pit, you just can't escape, because the pit is an hour individual period, then 30 minutes of one-on-one. So you're gonna get the teachings for an hour, then we battle. We just a lot of people look at the 30-second clips that we put up. Nah, we teach first for a whole hour. Then we get it on, and practice what we preach. So I think the first thing I look for is, do you care about this position? If you care about being an offensive line, defensive lineman, trust me, that makes my job easy. It makes Coach Jones' job easy. Trust me.
Yes. Now I'm glad you said that, because it helps me transition, because like I told the guys, I get the opportunity to be get my ESPN on, and this is a segue into the next question. So like with 5v5, and I think, matter of fact, let me put this comment up for Mark's Gav's dad. He said 5-on-5 was a game changer for Gav. 100% got him ready for camp season. So here's what we were talking about earlier, and I want you guys to stay with us. Adrian, you too. I want you guys to stay with us on this next topic. And 5-on-5 creates opportunity. So how do we get the guys from the smaller markets that aren't necessarily being seen to you? Or do we take what's happening to them? How do we help these smaller markets with these athletes that don't specifically get the shine that they need to?
I could say this. I think Rich could agree. Maybe Adrian would agree. Mark Bryant would agree. I try to do a good job to find some diamonds from the small areas. I'll give you an example. JT Day, Eastern Alamance. No one heard of that kid before we brought him to the city and let him display who he was. Antoine McCoy, Bulldogs commit. Dallas Richardson, the top 50 edge in 2028. The best way to do it, and I'm learning. I'm not gonna say I'm learning. I'm doing this now. You gotta tap in with these small markets. I'm gonna let you know a secret. And I've talked to an individual in this area that's very well respected in the training world. The smaller towns is where it's at, because those are the guys that got the size, just don't understand. Might not have the resources to get to the areas. So how you do it? You just reach out, man. I'm a cold caller. I'm a guy that I'll go look at I look at any county, and I go find any guy. Sometimes a coach might call me and tell me, "Hey, coach, check out this kid. We think you can help him out a lot." So I tell you this: the 5-on-5 national team that we have, it's not Raleigh based. It's North
Mm-hmm.
Carolina based, but it's also out the country based. Guys from different states based. I mean, not out the country, because it's good guys from different areas, from small areas.
Yeah.
Alamance
Yeah.
County. No one thought it was a dog there. Well, I saw JT Day in December,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's an SEC recruit. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen Antoine McCoy from Robeson County before he blew up. Now he's an SEC recruit. So I just say, I tell people, do your research. I know I do my best, and if it's some counties that I missed out, put in the comments the counties I need to tap into, because I'm a guy that I know the mark. I understand the mark. I understand that your next big thing might be in a town that just doesn't have the resources.
And so now, and dads, like I said, y'all jump in, because I'm on my. I did my homework, so I sat down and had my questions lined up and everything. But my next question is, like, how do you assist athletes that may have unrealistic expectations? So a guy comes to you, and in his mind, he already locked in of who he is, and you're like, yeah, you ain't there yet. We got to get you there, or this may not be where you're at right now. You eventually get there, but you're not there right now. So how do you manage unrealistic expectations?
Well, the beauty of 5-on-5, the film's gonna tell it all.
Mm-hmm.
You get dismantled the whole event. Film doesn't lie. It's the eye in the sky. I will say that. I don't, and now I will say this. I'll say and I say that. In the beginning, you have those parents that come into it. My child wants to go here. He can play here. I'll listen. It's like filling out a questionnaire survey, right? But what happens is you get into that tournament and that child might get baptized. I don't have to say anything. We both saw it. So if you told me before we went in the tournament, my child wants to be an SEC recruit, and I believed you for that first 5-10 minutes that you told me that, for the next 2 or 3 hours, we'll be able to tell if it's realistic or not. I've had some parents that tell me my child's P4 at the end of the circuit. That child is D3 now. Maybe we can get my child a place to play at. Now they got a different mindset. It's not, oh, he's SEC. Maybe we can just find a home for him to play at. And I tell parents, that's fine. I didn't have to tell you that, though. You saw that in the 5-on-5. You saw that in the event, because that guy across from him had those P4 offers. And he had everything that your son said he wanted. All he had to do was just battle to take it. So in saying that, at the end of all these events, I never have a parent come up to me and say, my child deserves this and that. I think me and that parent could sit down together and pull that tape up, have some nice popcorn, a beverage, and be able to have a Coca-Cola, and be able to say, did my son do enough to be on that level, or is he at a lower level? Here's the beauty of it too, though. It changes. Because I might get a kid that might be a freshman or sophomore that's on the circuit. Yeah, he comes back the following year, he's a dog. Well, because he had to get roughed up a little bit.
Yeah, he had to get spanked a little bit.
He had to get that blessing. And that's the beauty of it. I've had guys that some of the top players that y'all read about now, I've had on this team, and I've had a part of the circuit. And if the first time didn't go so well, but when he came back, he understood what it was.
Right.
But Keys, let me ask you this. Keys, let me ask you this. When you have some certain players who have been groomed all their life, all of a sudden, when they're thrown into the fire, as a trainer, not necessarily you, are you developing that skill when you know that position is not for them? If you have a 5'8" player and he's been a defensive tackle and he's only 190 pounds or 180 pounds, but that's all he wants to play. At some point, do we have to be honest and be like, I think you might need to look at something else? I mean, do we become dream killers if we suggest other positions that they may excel in? I know Deloach and I
I
have
mean,
had this conversation a lot of times. We talked to people down east, and it's like some, you have undersized linemen that are being put there when they shouldn't be. I mean, do we kill the dream if that's what they've been working on? I mean, how do we? What's the happy medium with that?
Well, Z, we're not gonna call them reality killers. I'm a dream killers. We're gonna say we're gonna be reality introducers. That's what we're gonna probably have to start doing for some of them now. Now, if you 5'5" and you know, in your household you don't see nothing taller than 5'8", then the reality of you being 5'10" or taller is probably kind of small. So you like he said, Key said, let's just find somewhere for my son to play. That's I'm not saying you can't play football on the collegiate level, but those dreams at 5'5" of you being the starting nose guard at Alabama, that's probably not the right direction for you to be going in. So let's just find another institution of higher learning that you can go to that will allow you to be a part of that team. That's the goal I always have. This is be completely honest with it. Now, unless you 5'5" benching 600, I can't see how it's gonna work. But that's just my take on it.
I say if you come to a trainer, I mean, really, I'm pretty black and white when it comes to honesty, even with the parents. If a child comes to me to get developed, and I know little Bobby is 5'7", 160, and he wants to be the next Trent Williams, right? Um, no, I will tell your parent. It just doesn't fit the description. However, you can't help that he might be in a small town where he is the man playing that.
Mm-hmm.
He
That's
might
Yeah.
true.
be the guy. So and that's it's not my place to tell you to switch your position right now. It's my place to tell you, hey, look, collegiately, it's probably not going to happen. You're probably one of the baddest high school players in your area at that position. Probably is. And just the next level just might be a stretch for you. I've had guys that I've told, you're gonna being around me, you might not go to college and play this because you're undersized. But I'm gonna make sure you have one of the best high school careers that you can imagine. What I
Yeah.
mean by that is that when you walk away from playing your 4 years, you can say, "Man, I was prepared. I did everything I could to get play at a good level and a good level to help get some wins for my program." If you're an all conference kid, I've had these kids that I'm mentioning. There was all conference. They knew for a fact that was the last award they was going to ever receive for football ever again, and that
Yeah.
was fine. We both came to men's with that, and we both understood that. Doesn't mean that kid didn't enjoy the game. He just understood he wasn't big enough to go to Miami,
Right.
or he
Right.
couldn't play at Shaw. He
Right.
couldn't play at Methodist. It's fine, But I do tell guys this. I mean, that's why you got all these divisions where you got these D3s and NAIA. If you are a 5'9", 5'8" aspiring kid, and you're a freshman, you're 185 or eighth grader, you 185. I'm not gonna tell you no. The reason why, because I've seen stories. I've had kids around us that started off 180 and then now 275.
Right.
So it's tough. All I could do is give you the real eval and the
Mm-hmm.
truth. It's not my job to switch your position. I'm gonna just be honest with you about where this position will get you.
So
Now, if
you
you're a
said a
guy
couple
that's
things, Keys, that I want to tap into. One is it looks like you work with kids, right? Like as far as realistic expectations, development, making sure they understand. Now, here's the question I have. When you have trainers that are now a part of the kids process, how are the trainers obligated to work along with what's going on at the school? So like you're giving information that sounds like it goes par with the coaches that this is what they may be hearing to fit inside the system at their school. But are the trainers obligated to be able to still train but yet keep it aligned with what's going on at a school?
I mean, with me, I'm not gonna teach you nothing that you can't take to your program.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've had kids. I teach a certain step. He might tell me, and my coach likes us to do it this way. Okay, we're gonna do it this way, the best of your ability.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I don't break what your coach has already created for you. Now, if it's a bad habit or something that I just know is a bad technique to use. Yeah, of course,
Mhm.
I'm gonna explain to them. I wouldn't use that if your coach asks. This is why A, B, and C.
Mhm.
Um, the thing about it, I can be if these
Break it.
high school coaches stay tapped in with the trainers. This is what I mean by that. It doesn't hurt to keep a report. I've had high schools that I've worked with where I've had a weekly report with the head coach. How's this
Mhm.
kid doing? How's this kid doing? Tell me about this kid. Has this kid been coming around?
Mhm.
Because they understand they can't do it all off season.
Right.
One individual, one of my mentors told me this. He said it best. When will these high school coaches realize that these trainers are 75, 80% of the reason why your child is athletic and can
Mhm.
play?
Mhm.
Um, at first I didn't understand it, but I understand like, well, yeah, they only get a certain amount of time with these kids. I'm with
Mhm.
this kid all off season. So it's a give and take. If I was a high school coach, I would want to be aligned with their trainers to see what they're doing, to see what they're working. If you're smart, if you're smart, high school, I would tell the trainer, "Hey, this is what I'm working, A, B, and C. Can you help get them ready for that?"
Yeah.
Because all you're doing, it's no different than these colleges that have offensive line and offensive and O line analysts, O line assist,
Mhm.
O line GAs. You need
Mhm.
somebody to get them prepared. O line developer.
Mhm.
You need somebody to get them prepared, and I think it doesn't hurt. Being around having a relationship with the guy's trainer, with the kid's trainer.
In your expertise, when would you say to a parent that it is disruptive or counterproductive? Like, what are some things when you're working with a trainer where you could say, nah, I ain't going too far? You know what I mean? Where, like you said, there should be some communication there, should be some talk there, but when do you see it where there may be a situation where it might be disruptive for that student when they're integrated back into their team?
You don't step. You don't step over the lines of telling their high school coach what they're doing is wrong. You know that it's wrong. I mean,
Mhm.
hey, he probably knows it's wrong, or he probably doesn't know it is wrong. You know, I'm more on I just develop, man. I know what a lot of these coaches look for. It's
Mhm.
good to have a report to understand what type of scheme that these coaches run. What's their core values of how they look at offensive line play, defensive line play, and then
Mhm.
from there you just make it happen. It's like we're working together. I think it becomes a headache when if the trainer and the coach is not on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
it could become a headache, but the trainer can't overstep. All you did was just prepare him. You can't tell that coach how to run his scheme. You can't tell him how to do his technique. I mean, even if it's terrible,
Yeah.
you can't tell him how to do it. You gotta just sit back and let it go. Because at the end, they're not his coach. You were just his developer. So and you've seen it where you might have some trainers that might feel like, man, I don't like the way that school does A, B, and C. Well, I mean, it's not your place. Your
Mhm.
place is to get that child prepared, get him ready. And once you got him prepared, now you gotta let him go and let him go back to his program and display everything that you taught him. That's
Hey,
it. I don't
real
ever
quick
want to.
shout out to Gav's dad, Mr. Marks. He commented, unfortunately, most high school O-line coaches teach bad technique all the time, karate hands. And we got
So
a special guest that we got to announce because he's watching, a friend of everybody on the show, Mr. Rackley, Rainier Rackley. Development is key. Shout out to Rack and congratulations too publicly. Congratulations on what you're doing. Development is key. And that I love what you're saying. Like, you and I have yet to be able to really sit down and truly, truly chop it up. I've seen you work. I've watched your work from afar. And, I was introduced to you by Tacoby. And the thing that I admire the most is it's about building a kid from the ground up, not just coming in and just saying, like, this is what we're going to do. Nah, let's do a little bit of an evaluation of what it is that you can do before we start implementing shit. And then you end up ruining the kid because you're putting in what you think versus what the kid can actually do.
that, and then you got that side. Then you got these side of trainers where You got these side of trainers where they might take something that's already been created and they'll spill, I mean, whatever spill they want to put on it. It was already done, was already created. Man, and we not, Cofield, Kobe Cofield is my dog, my brother, Rack is my brother. Those are my guys because they understand where I come from with this. Those are two guys that told me as soon as I was done playing to get into this market to help out my area, my hometown. At the same time, I'm not always happy with how training is going around here. I always tell I tell a lot of people there's a difference between Trenchard Elite and every trainer. 90% of the train, 99.9. I'll just be fair. We could just do a lot from scratch, man. You could give me a sheet of paper, right? And you that paper, that one sheet of paper might turn into a sculpture, some art, and you might give me a kid that don't know anything about football. And Zig has seen this. I've worked with kids that never played the game before. You look at them up. You look them up now. Those kids are all conference kids and scholarship kids. Those are the ones I like that don't have no knowledge of this game, because that's the time for me to really show you what I could do, what Coach Jones could do, like how we really do this. So there's two sides to it. You got the trainers that can do it, that can just do it from scratch. You got the ones that's taking, they're picking up the leftovers. I was, and the thing about me, I can always recreate, so it never bothers me. You could take a kid, and that's fine. You just might look up 3 months later. I got another kid. That's
now we've been rolling smooth because for those who are watching, Coach Cook, he was a gentleman who was going to come in, head coach from Farmville, but he wasn't able to make it today. But we still been rolling with the same conversation, and we're in our fourth down because we did first, second, and third down. We're in our fourth down when we're talking about NIL. And I think one thing that we keep talking about, and even on Instagram, you guys can't see the Instagram messaging, but I can. You see everybody talking about, yes, this is development. We're talking about development, clapping for development. And it takes me to my transition where development matched with exposure equals $ for players that have the attributes, right? So when we're talking about that, man, let's talk about how now more than ever, if you have the specific attributes in a position, that development now has a price tag to it. Now, I don't want to specifically talk about anybody's price tag, but I do want to talk about, this is where I feel high school coaches may not be changing with the times, with understanding that now development equals money for these kids. And you don't have time to waste because you could cost kids potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars.
From a parent standpoint, that is 100% correct. If your child isn't getting developed outside of school, it's not going to translate. It's not going to translate. Your child has to get development outside of their coaching at school. I can piggyback up what Coach Keys is saying. I've seen him take a kid from day one, basketball kid, has the size, has the length, train that kid up in practice, and the kid got his first offer. Now, where that kid takes it from there, that's going to be on that kid. But I've seen Coach Keys do it from the bottom. I've seen him take a D-line kid, put him on the offensive line, train him up how to be an offensive guard, because he understands that kid is going to need that development when these college coaches come stand on the sideline and look at these kids.
Yes.
So that's what it's about. From a parent standpoint, your kid is going to have to get with a trainer in order to have that to translate, whether you get an offer or whether we're talking about what you say, NIL, rev share, collective. That's going to have to translate to the next.
Mark, you said something important, and I'm going to switch you to main screen to explain that a little bit, because I need parents to understand that there's levels, there's different brackets when we're talking about NIL. So let me move you to main screen. And so you said a couple things there where rev share and NIL. Can you take just a little bit of time of explaining that for parents that may be watching who have no idea and they just think all that equals the bag?
No, so it's three things that schools are basing how they're going to pay your kid when they're getting recruited to college. You have NIL, which is name, images, likeness. Most positions are not going to get NIL. That's just what it is. You're going to get your quarterbacks, your high profile quarterbacks. They're going to get that NIL, which is like commercials and things like that. But most kids are going to get what they call a rev share. The NCAA gives the school a certain amount of money to spread out between their football program and other programs to where that money is going to be allowed it for them to pay that kid. Then whatever the collectives are the people that's pouring back into the program, they can add that money on top of the rev share. So that's where the difference comes in. But say like my son, and I can speak for my son probably won't get an NIL deal unless he goes to Kentucky and ball out, because his position is not a marketable position to where, somebody's going to say, hey, let me go give you this Sprite commercial. Mm-hmm. Whereas you got the number one quarterback in the country, he's going to get that Sprite commercial because he's a quarterback and it's a more flashy position. Right. And it's going to be more visible for that school. Mm-hmm. But, my son being a safety, unless, he comes into that school after his first year and he got 7 interceptions, 50 tackles as a freshman, he's just going to get that rev share and he's going to get that collective. So that's the breakdown, and that's how that goes.
I'm glad you said that because this weekend, Friday, Laith Marjan, my kicker, who now is in the NFL, he came to my house and he and I got a chance to chop it up. And I said, man, tell me, because he's lived it. He was in the NIL and transferred to Kansas and, got it. Like, tell me what's going on with the money. He's like, Coach, I'm going to be honest with you. There are some guys getting this bread right up, straight up and down. He was like, but I'm telling you also that it's based on your productivity. He's like, I've seen guys get told to go in the transfer portal so that they can free up money to give it to other people that they want to pull out of the transfer portal. He's like, it's a vicious game that if you don't produce, he said, this sounds good. He said, I watched freshmen come in and they thought they were getting things for the long haul, didn't produce. Next year, they back in the transfer portal with no bread, no money. And the one thing he was like, he'll be on the podcast when he comes back in July. He said after July 14th, he'll come on and talk. But one thing that he said that he would love to keep parents aware of and players is your NIL is attached, all that collective is attached to the school. The moment they take your scholarship away, because they can take it away for anything that is not aligned, then all that money goes away too. And he said they use that as excuses to be able to not pay these kids the money that is quote unquote promised. So he had given me so many jewels at one time. I was trying to take notes and I was just like, the hell with it. Get on the podcast and we'll talk about this at a time so that these players and these high school students can understand, so that, the main thing is the main thing. You still got to get in with academics. You got to get into school and then you got to perform. So if y'all want to talk to that, matter of fact, I can let Deloach talk about that, because Deloach, you talked to us about, your son and knowing that he had to perform for his NIL and his money to be different and get more and all that. Like, it's an understanding of performance. So if you would like to speak to that point, that would be great.
Yes. So coming out of high school injured, he knew he had to come in and work his way up. So once you get it, you have to compete. You have to be willing to compete. And he's always been that type of grind out type of player that he can always give it everything he has to show that he belongs. But, for a lot of kids that come in at 3-star, 4-star, 5-star to come in and say, well, I'm this and I'm in the school, and they come in with this thinking they're going to get this type of money. At the end of the day, by the end of the season, all the money they thought they was going to get, they never got, because they got, told it's time for you to hit the road. And the thing is, people think that they can just come in high school and get these accolades and think they're going to get this bunch of money. They unfortunately don't have that quote unquote dog in them. They stop working. They stop being hungry and wanting to compete. And if you lose that mentality, it's just like job. If you're not performing at work, you're not going to get the money. And there's a lot of money on the table for a lot of kids. And I want all the kids to get what they're going to get. But just like Mark was saying, it's several different layers to it. They think when they see this big amount of money that the kids are getting, it's only a handful of kids on each team that's going to get that top dollar like that for nothing. Everybody else had to work for what they get. And if you don't want to work, then you're not going to get it. So you better develop that type of work ethic early. Being at facility at 6 a.m. That doesn't mean waking up at 6. That means dressed and ready to go at 6. And is you have to be consistent, because if you're late, they can ding you. I think
They'll
was it
ding you.
Dion was talking about how he had it in Colorado, had it all broke down about how you lose money. You miss a meeting, it's this amount of money. You do this, you miss this amount of money. So all the kids just need to really work. And just to get back to keys, I really wasn't a fan early on of the 5v5. And Jacoby, my homeboy, he was telling me about it. I was like, all right, whatever, Jacoby. So one day Zig took me out to watch Keys train a kid. And I was like, oh shoot, there's a method to the madness a little bit. So after watching it over time, it's kind of growing on to me, and I can see the need because of after watching him work with the kid on the technique and watching other trainers work with technique. It's something about when you put it all together, and when you put, you put the ice on the cake, you put the eggs in it, you add the flour and the sugar, nutmeg, whatever it is, but that finished product is something beautiful to see, I must say. So congrats to you, man. It's really growing on me. So I'm looking forward to coming to the pit one day.
Yeah.
Now, we got a comment from Rack, which is huge because once again, when we talk about resources, and Rack getting in was like all of us getting in, because that he's not going to gatekeep information. He'll share it with us so that we know what the hell is going on. And he said with that 5-5 rule, they got to make smart decisions when picking schools, because it's not 4 years decision, it's a 40-year decision. And that's what we're going to actually close on, is talking about we're going to close on talking about this 5 for 5. And the first thing I want parents to understand, especially high school parents, if you're thinking about reclassifying your kid, understand what the rule is. This 5 for 5 rule means once you graduate, your clock starts. Or if your son turns 19, the clock starts. So let's say, we get to that senior year and that birthday situation, like maybe in the spring of his senior year, he turns 19, the clock is starting. So we have to be careful with reclassifying. Then we also have to be careful with understanding if people are talking about quote unquote red shirts, because technically that doesn't exist anymore, because now the moment that you enter a 4-year college, clock starts. And so you don't want to get caught in a situation where, and here's another thing, medical doesn't, you have to hope you can get the waiver for medical, but medical does not stop the clock either for you. So we got to make sure we're taking care of our bodies. So if you want to, and I'm usually good with this, I don't have the link, you can go to the ncaa.org and you can look at exactly what all this information is, because it is imperative for seniors to understand when that clock starts and what school you're deciding to go to, because as you sit, so that clock ticks. So you got to understand that. And I think for, especially for Deloach and for Zig, how important it is for your sons to actually be active on the field as freshmen, so that now they know going into their sophomore year, they have the opportunity to play and they're not wasting any time. Zig, I'll start with you with that, because, you and I talked about it to nauseum. The goal is to get on the bus. And then once you get on that bus, we need you on that special teams. We need you moving, because you have to work your way up. If you can get on special teams, then the next step is getting on the field. If you can do that as a freshman, you got a leg up. So if you can speak to that a little bit, because we watched Ryan do it.
Let me tell you something. When you get to that next level, it is all work, and there's no end to the work. Whether it's meetings, just being on the field, just being prepared, having your body ready. Poor Ryan, when he left the house, it's like, we didn't have time to talk to him. I mean, we had to get our questions in real quick because he was tired. He's had a busy day. With that being said, the clock is ticking. Preparation is the key. Making sure they are disciplined, able to follow directions, able to keep up, and on top of that, Mark and Deloach, you'll know this too. You also got, as a parent, we also have to stay on top of their mental. Are they getting burned out? Is the game still fun to them? I mean, because again, that next level is a business, and it's a dog eat dog world. I mean,
Yeah.
for no rhyme or reason, things can happen. But it's important to also offer that support, that village to that athlete because they're going to need it. Staying prepared, they say stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's the key. That's the key.
And Z, just to add to that, Coach Block, in the words of Jerry Rice he said, I never had to get in shape because I never got out of shape. But to add to that, having a conversation with my son, Block, we was talking about the making it the travel squad, and getting on special teams, and he broke it down to me. He was like, that NCAA rule says only 72 kids can travel. 135 people on the team. So for him to make the traveling squad as a true freshman was huge. You know what I'm saying? So
Huge,
I was like, that's really saying something. And to the education piece. The other thing with this is, and I want parents to really pay attention to this as well. If your child does get told to get in the portal, most of the time it's going to be just for the NIL rev share, whatever that is. That's going to be the piece because they say he probably won't be on the team. The school more than likely still going to cover his room and board and tuition, for him to go to school. So think about the credits. How you going to transfer? Are there grades up to par where they can't even transfer? Just don't chase the money because a lot of kids enter the portal that are super close to being able to graduate from college. But because they're chasing other dreams, we're not thinking about the 40 years, down the line, we being selfish thinking about right now. Go ahead and get that degree before you leave. Don't leave a school empty-handed and just assuming that the next school is going to take all your credits. That may not happen. You may have a year left in school, but because you want to transfer, now you still owe 2 years to another school to be eligible to graduate. You have to pay very close attention to that academic piece. And it's
Yes.
okay if you graduate early every summer. Go to summer school, graduate early, so you can be finished before your eligibility is up. If you really don't like the school you're at, and you can transfer and get your master's degree from another institution. Let's use this system that's in front of us to maximize our opportunities.
Agreed.
That's a
I
great
would like
point.
to add to that and piggyback on that point, just to give y'all know me. I like to do the numbers. There are currently, and this is facts. There's currently 10,562 players inside the portal. Right. Of those 10,500 plus, only 3,657 of them have homes. So that's roughly over 6,000 and some change that are looking for homes right now. And I think what we have to remember is there is a business piece where you may have the opportunity to get paid and get your money, and hopefully we can get you with the right people that you can do something with the money when you get it, because it ain't gonna last forever if you don't know how to use it. But the other part is, don't forget that you're going to college also to get that damn education. A very small, minute group of people go to the next level, and that's 1 point something percent. One of the things that the gentleman who, like I said, he University of Kansas, undrafted free agent, he's now playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The first thing he told me was, I went to Kansas because I knew I can get my degree and get my MBA. So even if I didn't make it to the league, I had something to fall back on. And you have to have this type of plan when you're entering into this, because of that, what I just said, like 3,657 students. So now the 6,000 that's not, what are they going to do? And we we want the best for all the student athletes that are in there, but the numbers tell you different. Not every kid is choosing to go to the portal. Some kids are told, voluntold, it would be in your best interest to get in the portal. So like everybody is saying here, for the parents and for the players alike, please make sure you understand what schools you're selecting in the beginning, because that can help you. Like as Coach Rack, said earlier, like, hey man, know where you're going so that you're not wasting time trying to figure things out. Understand your place on depth charts and things like that. If somebody's recruiting you in and they already got 4 or 5 lined up in your position, know that 9 times out of 10, you're just there to see if you can prove yourself. And if you can't, guess what? You're back in the portal. Like, let's be conscious of that, moving forward. And even in preparation, what I would like for Mark to close on with preparation, because now his son is getting ready to go into this fire, right? So you got to finish your season healthy as a senior, make sure you're taking care of your body, but then now you go from being the top dog to now I got to earn this spot. How are you helping your son prepare, and what are you seeing with him mentally, or what advice can you give to a parent who's going through this to be able to mentally support their student athlete in that aspect of the development as well?
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm so glad you asked that question. I just had this conversation with Coach Rack today. I say, hey man, you got to get on. You got to get on my son. And he'll tell you, he's on the phone, right? Because what I'm trying to explain to him is none of these stars at this point, right? You're going to college, they don't matter. At this point in high school, you're going into your senior year, these stars don't matter. When you get to college, you're starting at ground zero. So right now, we have to prepare for Kentucky. Your senior year is going to take care of itself if you're ready to enter college at Kentucky. Right. It doesn't matter how many high school games you win this year. We ain't worried about winning no state championship. I get online and I, jockey with these, these guys online back and forth or whatever. But at the end of the day, my goal and my vision is bigger because I understand that Marquise has to be developed and make sure that he's going to be successful when he goes to college. So the stars don't matter. We have to get back to training 2-3 times a day. As I explained to him when we were driving in the car coming from Baltimore, I say, Keith, you can't just go to practice from whatever time, y'all go to practice and then that be the end of your day. You got to go into this like you came into your freshman year when you was like, Dad, I want to start. I want to start as a freshman. So you was training 2-3 times a day. That's what we got to get back to. So that's the goal, is to get him back on that 2 to 3 times a day of training. That's your skill trainer, that's training with your school, and that's getting stronger. Because when he gets to college, he's at ground level zero. They got them guys in there. They're working for, number one, they're working to play, because a lot of those guys got the same aspirations that you have, is getting to the next level. And then number two, these guys aren't going to pay you this money for you to come in here and think that you missed a hot dog and don't perform. They're going to ask you to get into the portal. They're going to ask you to get into the portal. And that's not something that you want to do, because you've had success at an early age. And success at an early age is not going to equate to success at a longer age or a longer time if you're not prepared.
Yes, sir.
That's the conversation that him and I are currently having now.
Great. And now for this podcast, what I'll probably do is next week, and I'll talk to you all about it, I have a friend. Her name is Lena Harris. She has been on the podcast before. So if you do want to go check out Lena after I give, a little bit about who she is the sports counselor of Cleveland State. Her job is to make sure that everybody, not just football, but everybody has their mind on straight and can understand what they're getting into, because it is a grind, it is business, and nobody waits. That's the biggest part that I think a lot of athletes think, is that they have time. And because you do have the transfer portal and you have other options for coaches, you got to be ready to perform right now. They have to see that potential. You can grow into your spot if they see the potential and the learning curve happening fast. But if you're one of those ones that you think you're going to be a late bloomer and just sit on their dime, they're going to get you out of there quickly as possible. So to close the show, man, tonight's conversation was great. We talked about the 5v5. We talked about personal training and, you know, some keys about what is good and what isn't good when it comes down to the coach-trainer relationship. But I think the key today that I love that Coach Keys and Coach Adrian talked about was development and communication and honesty. Like, those things have to be a major part of this process, because really, as our parents, you know, my parents, ain't nobody playing with you. Like, ain't nobody playing with you. And so you need to have a realistic scope so that you know how to develop and you know how to perform and you know what you need to say and how you need to communicate. So shout out to Coach Keys, shout out, you know, to Coach Rack and everybody who commented. I see Coach Jones commented, Mr. Marks, I see Mr. Faulkner as well. He commented. We appreciate you all being a part, because this is the community that we want to build. And even on the Instagram side, we had Coach Greg, who does the QB coach. I mean, I'm sorry, not Coach Greg. Well, Coach Greg was on from South Garner, but we had Coach Reg on. Congratulations to him. He just had his baby. We had Money Down on. We had one of my players, Thomas Woodson, a former quarterback for Akron. I mean, there's people who are tuning in. Madi Williams played at Syracuse back in the day. He's an old head like me. And so we appreciate y'all being on and sharing y'all comments and y'all wisdom so people can see this is the community that First and Goal wants to build, and we're not going to stop. So our goal now is going to be able to pull in the people who can continue to add value every week. So hopefully what we'll do between the fellas that you see on now and myself is we'll come up with a calendar for July so everybody knows what's up. And if you too want to join the conversation, it's always scrolling at the bottom. Please don't hesitate. If you call in, we'll be able to hear you. You can ask your question, give your comment at any time. So you didn't do it this week, but that's okay. Next weekend is another week, God willing, if we're here. So any final words for you all before we get ready to get out of here? I'll start at the top and work down. We'll go with Zig first.
Hey, real quick, Money Down. Devin Mason's going to have his media day, and he's invited over 100 of the local kids here in the area. He and I have talked. We would like to make it also for the youth who will get a chance to actually see tomorrow's stars in their most natural element. Whether we play a game of kickball, water balloon fight, or anything, they'll get a chance to see some of these rising stars before they go away and start the football season. So again, stay tuned. We look forward to sharing that more information with that here in the future.
Cool. Coach DeLoach, what you got? Close us out.
Hey, man, I enjoyed it as always. I look forward to the next conversation we have. And please send some comments, questions. So a lot of things we're going to cover that we are thinking of. But if you give us a question, if we don't have the answer, maybe we can help research to get you what you need so that your child can benefit from all the opportunities that's available nowadays.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Mr. Mark, what you got?
So with that 5 for 5 playing, make sure that you're looking into the school, because the recruitment landscape is about to change again. With the 5-on-5, that's about to change again. So you're going to see schools like Clemson bounce back. Duke's going to always be there because these are development schools. So now you're going to see these type of programs, they're going to take off. So, you know, when you're in that recruitment phase and you're looking at schools, look for the schools that's going to bring your kid in and develop them. And it's not going to be like a 1-year thing to where they're going to go to that school and then, you know, next year they're going to be going into the portal, getting the kid to play over him. So that's what I'll leave you guys with.
Dope. And I'm going to close you out. As always, please do not compare, but always compete. No two people have the same pathway to the end goal, but make sure you keep working and keep your head down to the ground so that you can get it done. It's your man, Coach Block. Y'all have a good night. Fellas, y'all stay with me, but y'all have a good night. Peace.
Peace.